Going on, guys? Seth from Schmick Squadron, and I'm coming at you with the video for the more detailed deck profile of the Infernoids. so, um, there's not too much explanation for a lot of this stuff if you guys already know Infernoids, but I'll kind of like run through it super quick. He's a dark hole. He's a heavy storm, except for any void spell or trap cards. So you usually run two of both of those because like that's the best number. He attacks twice if he kills a monster and sends it to grave. If Sight to Miss attacks, he gets a non-targeting banish on anything on your opponent's field. And Sujet is if he declares an attack, he can your opponent banishes a extra deck monster of their choice. Can be okay during resourcing, but mainly here for Void Feast. And of course, they all do the once per turn during either player's turn, tribute a monster, banish a card from your opponent's graveyard. And that's really, really good when you have Lair. Petrulia and Harmadic. Spell Trap pop, or I think it's Face Down pop. Yeah, it's Spell Trap. It's Spell and Trap and then Monster pop. So just like target removal, they're very good. These two are really, really good, honestly. Like these two are really good cards and they pair up really well each other. If you can get them if you can get both of these on the field, which can happen, like you summon him, pop a spell or trap, summon him, pop a monster, and then link them. You can link them into a Doolittle, or you can link them into Phoenix, which is just another, or Cerberus, which is just another pop of whatever your choice. So these are both pretty good. I really like these two. And of course, during only your opponent's turn, you can tribute a monster and banish a card. Decatron, the best Infernoid, because he can become any Infernoid. So he's a Foolish Burial for Infernoids, and then he gets their effect. And he can't be affected by Call to the Grave because Called by the Grave is original name. It has to negate original name. So Decatron will send in a Nunku or a Dev and be fine. Sorry, that's my cat. If you hear that, I apologize. So 3 Arima, 1 Diablos, or Diabolos, regardless. Searches Lair, and then this also gets to this. But it just doesn't happen that often. I wish it could happen more often than I'd like, because if you could normal summon this guy with Lair, you get to Diablos pretty much for free. It's just a free Diabolos. Or Diablos. I call him Diablos, so. But yeah. I know a lot of Lair builds do not play this guy, but I love this guy. We play Monster Gate, we play Reasoning, so, I mean, pretty much no one's going to call an 8 in this deck. So if you happen to run into this guy, which can happen, he's a 3,000 beater that can't be tributed nor targeted, and against Solomon Great and Striker, he's insane. He's very, very good. And he can rip a card out of your opponent's hand. So I will always continue to play one of this guy. Even if it's not correct, it's just my personal preference. So yeah, that's how that'll go. So yeah. The 2 Lair of Darkness, I mean, this is what our decks kind of centers around. It's one of the cards that our deck centers around. Void Imagination, for people that don't know, again, it's essentially Shaddoll fusion, but better because you can send 6 cards. So, yeah. No Terraforming, it's unnecessary. Void Vanishment, that's not shared red, by the way. Void Vanishment, really good. Searches any of our void cards, discard a card. So usually you want to discard like an Infernoid because it's just free resource. Usually like send Sujet, Saitsumis, Atondol, a Nunku, or Deviati. And then you search either Imagination or excuse me, imagination or feast. Usually feast, especially if you're going first. If you're going second, like my deck is intended to, then you're usually trying to search out imagination and trying to blow them out. So yeah. So like I said, shared ride is not shared ride. It is just a proxy for Pot of Extravagance because someone let me borrow that last night, breaking the fourth wall. Last night was Wednesday. Actually, wait. No, last night was Thursday. So 2 days ago. So today's Friday. Breaking the fourth wall. So shared ride was Pot of Extravagance and hand destruction is hand destruction. I would not play this card again. However, in some situations, it came up. But my theory to play this card was only because to run 3 of Pot of Extravagance and then chain hand destruction so I could chain block them out. But because hand destruction's a quick spell, I'm not sure if you have priority to do that. Like, I'm pretty sure if you activate Extravagance, they have the option to ash it, and then you can hand destruction. But regardless, that was the theory. I'm not sure if the theory was correct. It only happened once that night, and I completely won that game because I ended up having 7 cards in my hand. And I dumped 2 I dumped an Infernoid and an Evenly with this card because I already had another Evenly in my hand. So I just drew more cards to out, like a full Solomon Great board. And that game, he had to activate like 2 Desires, and he still couldn't win. But he had to activate the second Desires to keep up, which was great. But yeah, Shared Ride is Pot of Extravagance. I will stand by Pot of Extravagance in this deck. I think it is phenomenal. Okay. I don't agree with Pot of Desires at all. We run too many one-ofs and whatnot to be warranting to play that deck, or that card. And then Hand Destruction, I would not play again. Like, yeah, sometimes it came up, but for the most part, it's pretty weak. And in one of my games, it completely screwed me because I let somebody draw into an Ash and an Ogre that allowed him to out 2 of my cards that would have given me the comeback to win the game. So, yeah, I would not play this card. I would switch this card out for Called by the Grave, and that is what I plan to do. 1-for-1, Monster Gate, Reasoning, all fantastic one-ofs. I mean, we're playing Infernoid, so dumping a couple Infernoids with this card is phenomenal. And we play 7 normals. So, I mean, you have a chance to run into one of those normals, yes, but for the most part, you're likely to mill a couple Infernoids. And then Monster Gate's insane with Lair of Darkness because you tribute one of their monsters, so it's tribute for cost. So you tribute one of their monsters, and then you just get free mills. And then 1-for-1 is fantastic because we just send an Infernoid and summon a Decatron, and then you already have 2 Infernoids in your grave, and then you have Decatron. Fantastic. Void Feast, 3. I'm thinking of bumping this, or putting this to 2. Because my deck is going second, but I think you have to keep it at 3. And then this, because we're going second, was also borrowed cards. This is evenly matched. Evenly matched just allows us to like completely blow our opponent away. So we just like, you activate this card and you essentially win, especially if they keep an extra deck monster. So Solomon Great, Sky Striker, Thunder Dragon, any of those guys, if any of those guys keep that on board, keep their extra deck monster on board, we're just activating this card and blowing them out. So, yeah. I see no reason, like, if you're going second, you always want to run that card. So, let me do a power shuffle here. Oh god, this is going to take way too long. I am going to do one of these because I have to I'm recording this with my hand, so I'm just putting that right there so I can shuffle this deck. But yeah, so Deck's very good. And if you saw the original deck profile for the extra deck, it's 3 Infernoid Tiara, 3 Doolittle, which you could switch that Doolittle with a Witch's Apprentice, because if you have Lair, then all your monsters become dark and all your monsters become bigger. So yeah, it's kind of nice. 2 Hita, the Charmer. It's really good it's good in our deck because we can search Decatron, and it's also good against Solomon Great. So there's me splitting the deck. I did a power shuffle. Also, what else? I had Link Karibo, Nightmare Phoenix, Nightmare Cerberus, Nightmare Phoenix, Nightmare Cerberus, Link Karibo, 2 Hita, 3 Tiara, 3 Intis, 3 Doolittle, and I think I had Omega or Black Rose Dragon, because we can make that card. You can make that card. It doesn't come up often, but you can do it. And if you can, you might as well, because it's just like they have to negate it or their entire board's getting blown up. And for going second, that's really good. So for test hand, evenly. Wow, nice. Harmadic, okay. Hand Destruction, okay. Anunku, and Diablos. Okay. So usually I go second, so I would draw 6 cards, so it would be Sitesimus, but in this case, it wouldn't happen. So anyways, if we were going first, then we were activating Hand Destruction, but I'd kind of prefer to show test hands of going second, so I would draw into the Sitesimus. You would Hand Destruction, for sure. Which kind of stinks because you're like negging yourself a bit. You're going -1 out of your hand because you only draw 2, and this doesn't warrant it. That's another reason why I'm not very happy about the card. But I would send Sitesimus and Anunku. So you would send these 2. Your opponent would send 2. The other thing that's bad about this card is your opponent has to have 2 cards. If they don't, this card is just a brick in your hand. Draw 2. Another Hand Destruction. Okay. And Void Feast. Awkward. Kind of. I guess I would just Hand Destruction again. Sending these 2. So that's our grave right now. And then we would draw another 2. Lair, and Harmadic. So that's actually not bad. I'm pretty sure that's not bad. I gotta reread Diablos. How do you special summon this guy again? Because I'm pretty sure a dark monster you control is tributed. You can special summon this card from your graveyard. If it was there when you tributed it. Oh yeah, that's right. And can you do it? Oh yeah, from the graveyard or hand. Yeah, that's really good. So what I would do then is, for sure, we were activating Lair. We're always activating Lair. I'd summon Harmadic. Well, you'd probably, actually. You would go evenly, of course. You would go main phase, battle phase. You would evenly them. I mean, because evenly. Then I'd go Lair. Then I would summon Harmadic. I would banish the other Harmadic because it's not useful in our grave. So that's what I'd do. So I would summon that. And then I would use its effect, and this is still in our hand. I would use its effect to pop. I'd use its effect to pop a monster. And then I would use its second effect, which sucks. You can't use its second effect. So I guess you would summon Sitesimus, maybe. I don't know. No, because if you still tribute a dark monster, I think you still get Diablos, right? No, it's a dark monster that you control. So, I mean, I still would. I still absolutely would. With Harmadic, tribute one of their monsters and banish one of their cards. But after that, there's like not a lot we can really do, because all we have is Harmadic in there. You could also take the route instead and keep Harmodic in the hand and then just like banish. You could likely just like banish this, banish that. So banish these two, summon the Sitsamus. But the problem is you've already gone into your battle phase, so it's like what you're trading is a monster pop, and if I would say if they didn't keep a monster, you could go with Sitsamus, but if they kept the monster, you might as well just go with Harmodic, and pop their monster, and then banish something, especially if it's like Striker. You can like tribute their Shizuku or their Kagari or Hayate, likely Shizuku since it's going to your turn. And since you evenly them, that you just blew their field away, but you tribute the Shizuku, banish the Ray from the grave, keep this guy, and then since you tributed a monster, you get to get a token. Shit, you can't do that. You'd have to wait till their turn. So yeah, it's just kind of odd. I feel like that's really odd. I guess maybe you could go Sitsamus, like, you could keep the Harmodic in your hand, banish the 2, go Sitsamus, use the effect. I think that would probably be better. Like, use his... Oh, yeah, that's way better. That's way better. Okay, so, say you were playing Striker, right? You used the evenly, or even if it's Solomon Great, you used the evenly and they kept something, and they kept a monster, regardless. You would use... I think you would... In this case, summon Sitsamus, tribute their monster, banish something, usually the Spinny Boy or Jack Jaguar or the Valynx, one of those. All those are good choices. And then you would get a token. So you would get a dark token, right? And then during their turn, if they summon a monster again, you just wait, tribute the token again, banish something out of their grave, and then just summon this. And now you honestly have a really good board, and if they get rid of Sitsamus, you still have Harmodic in your hand for next play, and then, like, your next turn, you're drawing into Extravagance, so you would absolutely activate that, and then you would get Vanishment and Patrulia in the beginning of your turn. And Vanishment says, add a card. It does not say draw, so you can still add cards, like... So that's fantastic. So then your hand would be Feast, Harmodic, Patrulia, which these two are really good in themselves, and then you have these two. And if you're checking your grave, you still have an Anunku that's banished, and that's your grave right there, right? So you still have an Anunku and a Deviati. So if you wanted to, you could discard one of these two, and you can either go Feast or you can go Imagination, either or. I would probably grab Imagination just because you can, but I mean, I would absolutely be like setting Feast and just blowing them away next turn, putting 2 Decatron and Sajet, and just winning the game from there. But yeah, very, very good. So yeah, that's that. That's the test hand. And that's about it for this video. I will go there. I'm going to make a third video, and it'll either be, I don't know when it'll be uploaded. I'm going to try to upload it soon, but there should be a third video of me going over a new list that I'm thinking of. I was thinking about it at work while I had the free time, and I really like that list. It's still a going second orientated build, but I really like it. And one of the cards it includes is Phantasme. If you don't have Phantasme, I guess you can either go Ash or you can go Mind Control. But the reason why Phantasme is really good is because if we're going second and, like, you know, Solomon Greats are going off or Striker's going off, it allows us to draw, obviously it allows us to draw cards. But the good thing is it allows us to kind of, like, get into cards that better, that can better out their board, but also Phantasme doesn't interfere with Imagination, because Imagination just says you need that your opponent has an extra deck monster and you do not. And I will show that just for clarification, which is right here, which reads, let's see if I can get this to focus. Okay, so Infernoid monsters you control whose original levels are 2 or blah, 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 blah. So you can send this card to the graveyard, fusion summon 1 Infernoid fusion monster from your extra deck, using monsters from your hand or your side of the field as fusion material. If your opponent controls a monster that was special summoned from the extra deck and you do not, so Phantasme doesn't interfere with that, you can also use up to 6 monsters from your deck as fusion material. So Phantasme just allows us to draw extra cards, and then so does this card. And then this allows us to this is our blowout card, which people are never trying to allow us to use it. But that's why I'm also adding 3 Called by the Grave. So yeah, and then 3 Extravagance means we can play 3 Tiara, banish cards, draw 2, and so Phantasme allows us to get into cards like Pot of Extravagance, Void Imagination, Evenly, stuff like that. Just things that'll really, really help us at the end of the day. Plus, Phantasme is really, really good against strikers. So, that's it for now. So once again, guys, thank you so much for watching. Leave a comment if you'd like, if you have any questions. But until next time, peace, peace, peace. Oh yeah, sorry for the bad camera setup. I don't have anything as a stand for my phone, so it's just my hand for now. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. Peace out.